Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I am the producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me as always on Mondays is our host, Logan Landers. How's it going, Logan?
Man, I'm doing great, Jeremiah. I've been talking football with you for a little bit now. Man, having a great Monday. Hopefully get a great week. Let's talk about some more football legends.
Yeah, we're nice and warmed up now, ready to get into John Vaught, the historic head coach from Ole Miss, right?
Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss. Oh, my gosh. This is a team that, coming from the UTK kind of era, over at the Vols, that I only know in somewhat passing. It wasn't our greatest rivalry and everything, so I'm really interested to learn a lot more about John Vaught. So go ahead, Logan. I'm going to jump in here and let you tell us more about Mr. Vaught.
And let's talk about the legendary coach in John Vaught. So before we get into any football, let's just get right to the facts here. He served in World War II as a lieutenant commander for the U.S. Navy, so much respect for him for his service. But after, he came out of the Navy, he's coached for the Ole Miss Rebels for 25 years, consecutively from 1947 through 1970. Came back in 1973 as an interim head coach, made it 25 years, and just overall great coach. We'll get more in depth with him real soon. So in the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, man, I'm sorry for all the Bulldog fans out there, man, but John Vaught, just when he laid waste to everyone out there, man, he was 19-2-4 in the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State. So, man, I'm sure that once all the Bulldogs fans saw that he was gone as the head coach, they, celebrated in the streets that night. So I got on there. It's a 2-7 turnaround. What I mean by that is, before he was the head coach, the team was 2-7. After he came, the first season, man, great coach, man. SEC champion that next year, 5-time SEC champion, and he remains the only Ole Miss coach to win an SEC title to this day. Man, that's insane. It's been, around 40 years since they've won their last championship? But yeah, so just overall a great head coach. On the next slide, we got more just insane stats that I learned about John Vaught that I'm hoping, talk to listeners about. So in, bowl games, that's where a lot of head coaches make their money. And man, John Vaught did just that. 10-8 record in bowl games, including 5 Sugar Bowl wins, man, which is unheard of. So a fun fact I learned about him. Only, Paul Bear Bryant, who's the great coach for Alabama, and Robert Nealon, who, Jeremiah, I know you know all about being Tennessee boy. They own a winning – they're the only coaches that own a winning record against him, man. No one else could crack the code with John Vaught and his Ole Miss Rebels, man. But, man, salute to both of them. 2 other legendary coaches who, were somehow able to get wins against them. And, I mean, heck, it's hard to anyways, man. Look at his record. 190, 61, and 12 for his entire record. Obviously, a just historic coach getting that many wins, man, over 25 years. Absolute insanity. He was a 6-time SEC Coach of the Year, as he should. And he only had 1 season that he was under 500, man. That was, I think they went 4-5 that year, if I'm not mistaken. But, God, man, 25 years and only 1 season under 500, I'd say that's pretty impressive. He also had an undefeated record in 1962. Like I said, in 73, he came back as the interim head coach. 5-3 record, man. This man, a walking win, man. What more can I say about John Vaught? I'll tell you what, I got another slide talking about him. He's inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1979, as he should. In 1982, they renamed the Ole Miss Stadium to Vaught Hemingway Stadium to honor him and put his name in there. And unfortunately, the legendary head coach for the Ole Miss Rebels passed away on February 3rd, 2006. But, man, as we look back on the life of John Vaught, I've learned so much about this amazing head coach. That's the great thing we do about over here. I get, when I get, what we're going to do for the show, I do my research and just learn so much about all these historic players. We talked about, a bunch of Ole Miss players this week. We talked about Archie Manning. We talked about the future in John Rice Plumlee. Man, it's great to just go back and see, just where it all came from.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that it starts to really frame things when we get to talk about these new and up-and-coming players. We're talking about, the first player we talked about today was born in 2001. Right. And so he's just starting his career, and he's already got a lot of things to look at. But when you take it all the way back and you look at these historic coaches like John Vaught, or you talk about Archie Manning, or, all the classic rivalry teams and how the teams are doing, you really start to see like the legacy of football goes from that far back all the way to the future that we don't even know yet.
Right.
And it's connecting those dots between what they did in the past and what they're planning to do now and the future of the entire league, that I start to really see these patterns emerge. And a lot of them have to do with working hard. They have to do with, really committing to what you want to do. And I think it's a lot of common threads between champions.
Right.
And that's what I definitely see. So what's your final thought on John Vaught?
Man, let me just say, going into this, I wasn't that aware of John Vaught. I'm just going to be completely honest with you, man. But once I got my research in, I was like amazed by just how good of a head coach he was, man. An absolute legend that I'm proud to say I've learned a lot about since I've been doing all this research, man. Great head coach. We saw the record, 190 wins. Yeah. And that's very impressive. 25 years as a head coach. That's very rare to do. We see a lot nowadays. There's a few head coaches hanging around, but man, 25 years, you got to have a lot of trust in the school for that.
Right. He had a time to really create a legacy for himself and to really show what he could do and live through the ups and downs. Every year can't be the perfect year, and every year can't be a championship season, unless you're Alabama, I guess. But but still, even with Alabama, every year you could think this is the easy year. We've done it 3 or 4 times in a row, and then you fall short for those subtle reasons that champions really make a difference in.
Just, it varies year by year. That's what it is.
Yeah, it totally does. Well, for everybody watching, we are 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. We come to you live to talk about history, to talk about the upcoming players, and to talk about everything that's going on in the sport of football. We talk about high school, college, all the way to the NFL, and we bring it to you every week live with our team, Logan Landers, Vincent Mr. Football Turner, Bobby Butler, who is the 1981 first-round draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons, and our coaching expert, Kevin the Bull Jones, and including me, the producer, Jeremiah Long. So if there's anything that you'd like to see us cover, please let us know in the comments. And please, all of our Ole Miss fans, we want to hear all of your stories about John Vaught. There's more to be learned, and there's things that you can't really pull by even doing research. There's things that only the fandom is going to know. So please let us know if there's anything else that we need to know about John Vaught, and we're going to be here for you. So for the whole team here at 100 Yards of Football, we'll see you later this week. See you.